A few weeks ago, Feli from Germany made a video about some of the dumbest questions that she's been asked by Americans. And while it is tempting to point and laugh at Americans for their lack of knowledge, it's worth pointing out that non-Americans can say dumb things too. I mean, we've all seen those videos of Americans looking at a map of Europe and not being able to name any of them. But put me in front of a map of the US and I can't reliably identify even half of the states. So, by way of a response, I've decided to present some of the strangest things that Germans have said to me. And yes, I have changed the parameters slightly. Some of these are normally phrased not as questions, but as statements. I don't know if that says anything about the difference between Germans and Americans, but there it is. The first one is a question, though. It comes right after I've introduced myself as an Englishman, and sometimes the response is, so does that mean English, or like Scottish or something? No, if I was Scottish, I would not say that I was English. Those are very different things. Nalf, who, by the way, is American, recently pointed this out on his second channel. Even my own brother-in-law just a few days ago asked me if I am Welsh, and he's known me for nearly 17 years. But he's not dumb. I want to emphasize this point. We can't all know everything. Besides, he's family. So watch it. Next up, how can you stand to drink warm beer? Which, coincidentally, is very similar to one of the questions that Feli, a German, gets asked. For this, I blame the popular Asterix comics, in particular Asterix in Britain, in which Asterix and Obelix are introduced to lukewarm beer. There are two things to say about this. First, English ale is not served lukewarm. It should be served about the same temperature as red wine, which, by the way, is significantly below room temperature. Lagers and pilsners are, of course, even in England, served at much lower temperatures. And second, I don't even drink beer. My dad used to brew his own, and that was enough to put me off beer for life. Similar to the last one is, oh, I'll get you a cup of tea. Thanks, but I don't drink tea either. Besides, what you serve in Germany isn't usually tea. It's more likely to be an infusion that has no tea in it. Tea is a very popular drink in Britain, and it used to cause me all sorts of problems when I still lived there. It is standard practice when you receive visitors to make them a cup of tea, and I would have to politely decline. I've just never liked tea. That said, I have heard that it is starting to go out of fashion and young people are drinking less tea and more coffee. I don't know how true that is, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. After all, cultural traditions can change over time. That's just the way things are. One of the most bizarre things I've ever had said to me is, oh, but you can't be English. You're not blonde. Now, in fairness, this has only ever been said to me once in my entire life, but I've never forgotten it. What's particularly ironic about this one is that this is a stereotype that people normally have about Germans, and it's a bit inaccurate. Yes, there are quite a lot of blonde people in northern parts of Germany, but in fact the greatest concentrations are found around the Baltic Sea in countries like Estonia, Finland and Sweden. For the record, roughly half the British population is either blonde or red-haired. And also, of course, an awful lot of British people have ancestors that come from parts of the world where blonde hair is incredibly rare. Next. Oh, you must be really embarrassed about your government right now. Okay, fair point. But then you have Philip Amthor, and I honestly can't decide if he's the illegitimate son of British politician Michael Gove or the result of a scientific experiment to put the brain of a 69-year-old into the body of a 29-year-old. Yes, really, this man hasn't even celebrated his 30th birthday yet. And finally, a surprisingly regular occurrence. Do you know the Queen? Now, to be fair, this is usually meant as a joke, and that's fine. But it has happened once or twice that after my polite chuckle and humorous reply, but of course, we have afternoon tea together every Sunday, the other person will say, yeah, but seriously, do you know her? No. What more can I say? So yeah, those are just a few of the strange things that Germans have said to me. Now it's your turn. What are some of the strangest things said to you by people from other countries? That's a wrap. Now to see what the cats have been complaining about. What's the matter, Clyde? Eh? What?